You are listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, gamer, Tim K.A. Trotter. Joining me today is the one, the only, the buster of knuckles, the one and only, Mike List.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? I have a surprise for you, Tim.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, I do. Not only do you get one half of the RNG cast, you get both halves of the RNG cast. I brought a friend with me today.
Oh, fantastic. Why don't you induce your friend? Induce your friend? That's not a word. That sounds sexual.
Not a word.
Introduce him.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Forked family, let me introduce you to you, the second longest podcasting partner I've ever had. My RNG brother from another mother. Also, fun fact, our birthdays are like 15 minutes apart.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh, wild.
May I introduce to you Des Raven?
Let me tell you something. You got me here. Okay, I'm sorry. I ran out of steam for that. Hi. Bonesaw's ready.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bonesaw's ready. Yeah, I think you did it better with the deeper
I was going to do a bit, but there's no way I can match the randomness of the Macho Man. Because holy crap.
Yeah, very true. Well, what brings us all together, Mike?
What brings us all together, other than
Fate?
The randomness of RNG and fate, and the goblin that lives within electronics that come with the RNG cast.
Yeah.
Other than I thought it would be really, really cool to have Des come on the Fork in Your Ear podcast and
it's
talk,
about time.
Yeah, and talk fork stuff with us. But we had a catastrophic failure, folks. Which I will probably bring up in technology, but let's just
probably
say
a good call for that.
let's just say that technology does not love the RNG cast, and
listen to the instructions. Don't feed them after midnight. Okay, this is why.
Yeah, I mean, he was hungry. I'm sorry. I just thought it was a good idea. My bad. But yeah, we had a catastrophic failure. I.e., you could hear me, but you couldn't hear Des. So I reached out to the Podfather, i.e. one Tim K.A. Trotter, and said, "Hey Tim, what the fuck can I do?" And then he said, "That's pretty much what I said."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I mean, it sounds better probably than the episode where it sounded like you were talking through a fan through the exhaust port of an X-wing, remastered by
you
a
love
race of
me
dogs."
saying that, don't you?
Dude, I loved it so much. I copied it.
Yeah,
Did you? Oh my, that's so
that
good.
was the most epic of like awful descriptions ever, and yes, I love that.
And yet 100% accurate.
Oh yeah, completely.
But the best part was remastered by a race of anthropomorphic dogs that don't have thumbs.
Yeah, that don't have opposable thumbs. Yeah. Oh my goodness, we should write that shit down.
Bravo, sir.
Well, I do say I am an author every week.
Yes. But also, it would be cool, for you to come on the RNG cast right after we record this podcast and talk RNG and Destiny 2 with us. Because I don't know if you knew this or not, Tim. You probably do because you're the founder and you get alerts for the clan. But Des is also in the clan now.
Yeah. I've only seen the sent a invitation receipt to Des Raven, whatever your PSN name is, like 100 bazillion times through the air.
Okay. The funny thing is I saw one, and then I mentioned it to Buster because I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that you sent me that invite, and he's like, what invite? I'm like, wait, what? Like, fair enough.
I'm not the most observant guy. We all know that.
Fair enough. Well, to fully introduce you to the Fork in Your Ear format that has evolved over the last half a year, Des. So we cover, obviously, life and entertainment, movies, TV, books, video games, and technology. But we have that sort of segmented out into 4 topics. And we actually have a D&D spin ring that associates which topic I guess we literally, we roll to determine which topic we go into. And
roll for natural 20, rip your ass swallows you whole. Crap.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. And the only rules on the show are we don't discuss religion or politics because that just always brings up bad vibes and hate.
Exactly.
And we don't want that.
Yeah, similar rules to RNG because like when we were first starting, it's like I don't want to do those 2 things because no matter what side you're on, somebody has an issue with it.
Exactly.
Like, stay away from it.
Yeah, I have no idea where Mike got that sort of rule for podcasting from. It sounds like some sort of father of pods.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems to always work for every other podcast I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim do. So I think it just worked for RNG.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to roll and get this party started. And let's see, we have landed on technology. How apropos. I feel like Mike should probably kick it off.
With a quick note of screw technology.
Yes.
Des has an epic rant coming. Oh, Tim, don't worry. The epic rant I sent to you earlier this week is going to happen again when it gets to life. But
fantastic! I actually just found those files.
You saved the recording?
I saved the second 2. I didn't get the first one that was golden. The second one, you went almost into the same sort of like tone that you were emitting from your disaster.
You can't redo once I start baking. Once I go, it's on time. But
exactly.
I would just love to have a company that specializes in podcast recordings. If that could be a thing, I would pay money for it. Because what is it really? Let's just go over what people use to record podcasts. There's Skype, which is what I think is. I wouldn't say the gold standard. I would definitely say the copper standard because sometimes Skype decides it wants to shit all over you.
We could raise it to the nickel standard.
Okay, nickel. I'll give it nickel.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you mentioned that because I feel it's a double-sided coin when it comes to podcasting and what you use to record, because obviously there's the 2 big computer contenders. Like I am exclusively a Mac user and I have mostly nothing but love for Skype on the Mac side. And yet on the Windows side of things, it seems a lot more fucking difficult. Let's just be honest. It seems a lot more fucking difficult to get shit rolling on the Windows side. Because you gotta, I mean, you sent me that link about what you were using to record, and I was like, there's a lot of there's a lot of colorful things here on this website trying to prove that it's not adware. No offense.
Yeah, to accurately describe the coin, it's kind of like Harvey Dent's coin.
It's
absolutely. Like 2 heads, but one side is extraordinarily like burnt and scarred and awful and just yeah. So
yeah. I'm sorry, Windows users. I wish I had an extra Mac and I would just ship you a Mac with all the shit ready to go.
That'd be great. But the thing to get, like, if it was just a call and a recording software like in one, as opposed to having like Skype and then a Skype recorder, that's great. Because Discord, I don't know if you ever used Discord to try to record, Tim. When it's good, it's good, but when it's bad, it's terrible.
Yeah, when it's I mean, the the general sound quality of Discord is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it that. Like, it's amazing. But as soon as you get a ping spike, you're dropped.
Yeah. Well,
and then you start sounding like,
yeah, go ahead.
You never know. And then it's, and then you smooth out for a while. I mean, it's,
Well, so I'm not a software engineer, but I do know a thing or two about audio, and I know when it comes to audio compression and going over the internet lines, I know it's all about low latency, and it's all about how much accurate sound data. Because the other thing about voice is you don't need all of the different spectrums of audio that you would maybe need in like a recording studio. So you can just drop out whole sections, which basically accumulate to different types of data and makes your audio more beefy in terms of how much it actually weighs in pure scientific computer information size. And I remember, back in the day, if any of you all had the original Xbox, the voice quality on the original Xbox was absolutely fantastic. Excuse me, something in my throat, apparently. And when they switched to 360, because people complained that the audio quality was great, but there was a bunch of lag, they actually switched codecs and they changed so that it prioritized, like your gameplay presses and stuff on the buttons versus the voice chat. And the voice chat on the 360 was measurably worse. And then, of course, gamers complained. And then sort of at the end of the 360 to Xbox One lifespan, they found a nice happy medium between prioritizing audio versus prioritizing, your gameplay presses that are being sent to either a server or peer-to-peer. So, I would think that when it comes to Discord, like obviously Skype has its own patented audio codec. That's actually one of the reasons, my understanding at any rate, is why they were purchased outright by Microsoft back in the day and why it's remained Skype branding, other than the fact that, Microsoft typically has an evil connotation to it, which is sort of unfortunate because I think probably in the last 8 years or so, it seems they've made fantastic strides to, not suck as much.
I mean, you would think, but...
Well, yeah, minus what you guys went through this morning. I mean, I'm
still mad.
I don't have words.
The first cut's the deepest, Tim. You know that, right? The first cut, always the deepest, sir.
Yeah. Well, actually, that brings up an interesting thing since we're on technology. What is the first time you guys considered you were horrendously burned by a Microsoft product? Like, what's your first memory?
Ooh.
When I actually looked at the price of Windows.
Got a point.
That is a fantastic one, Des.
Because
my goodness.
Well, I was young. Because I have an older brother. We're 12 years apart.
Okay.
Which is hilarious because we're the same Chinese zodiac, and there's actually a hilarious family thing. Anyhow, but yeah, so he was in the Navy and he had schooling for computer technology.
Yeah.
So when he came out of the Navy, he was a computer tech. And so I learned a whole lot. He would come home with homework. At the age of 15, I could take your basic Ethernet cable and I could actually wire it to work for networking for computers.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, yeah, this information has long since been forgotten, of course, but there was a time I could. But yeah, so I mean, working with Windows and stuff. I mean, you buy a PC, you get Windows, and I think it was at one point in time, I'm wanting to say around Windows ME.
Yeah.
And I think the next step was coming out, and I looked at the price, and it's like, you're trying to charge me $300 for this freaking thing? But I could just spend an extra couple hundred and get a basic PC. It's probably better than what I have with the newer Windows. Are you kidding me? But yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. In the early 2000s and the 90s, I had the alternate problem, where the Mac operating systems were always $80-$100. Our computers famously were outrageously priced in the 90s and specifically the early 2000s. Like I remember my first computer that was beyond the 90s technology. It was like a 2004 MacBook Pro 12-inch. I think it had a gigahertz processor and 756 megabytes of RAM with a 40 gig hard drive. And it was, I want to say it was like $3,500, which in that time was completely outrageous for those particular specs. But, at the same time, having grown up in the Apple ecosystem, that's just what you're accustomed to. And thankfully, the prices have gotten much, much more reasonable. But as anyone will attest, at the end of the day, you will always be able to get a Microsoft Surface, or God forbid you want a terrible Chromebook for way cheaper.
Can't argue with that.
I think for me, Tim, the first time Microsoft, I felt like I was shafted. It was a big shaft. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a hammer. As both of you well know, I was stationed in Japan while in the Marines, and I had a room to myself. So I had a big room that was pretty much like an arcade, and I had an Xbox because I had Steel Battalion, and why not? So the motherfucker bricked on me.
Oh, the Xbox?
Yeah, it red lighted.
Red ring.
Did the original Xbox actually have a red ring?
Yeah, it red ringed on me.
Because I knew about that on the 360. I didn't know about that on the original Xbox.
No, the original Xbox bricks too. So, I mean, it did have a lot of action, like a lot. So I understood. But then when it said, call Xbox support, they'll send you a coffin, and so then they were like, oh yeah, we could totally fix it. But the problem is you're international, and the shipping would be. And they said some sort of amount that I said, are you fucking out of your mind? I could just buy another Xbox for that.
Yeah.
And then the lady was like, I mean, well, you could. All right, cool. So I went out and I bought a PlayStation.
Is that what changed your side to PlayStation?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that is funny.
That is hilarious.
But you could. Not that, you're a goddamn patriot, or you've been in war before. Thank you for defending our country and our freedoms. Nope, you could.
You could. Or I can just run down the street and get a freaking Japanese PlayStation. Screw you all.
Yeah. You just open my front door and go, "Hey, anybody got a PlayStation?" And then one will appear magically. But yeah, it's probably the first time I felt like I got screwed over.
Wow, that's interesting. I think the first time I truly felt screwed over by Microsoft was probably, I mean, I feel like there's something in the 360 era, but I can't remember it right now. So I'm going to go with my second one because I'm just forgetting things. My second one was actually, and this will tie into my other thing on technology, is my original... And it's so stupid that I have to say this now. The original Xbox One, because there's fucking 3 different fucking versions of it now. And the reason I say that is, so I was PS4, first feed in day one, because it had the games, and Xbox One fucking didn't. And I also hated sort of all of their like whole one philosophy and stuff. And I was like, I don't need any of that, and like I just, for the first, I'd say maybe 2.5 years, I owned the original Xbox One, and I still own it, by the way. I had nothing but crashes and reboots and just fucking freezing up and stuff. Like I didn't even have any sort of, red rings of death equivalent thing, but like it just hated me. It just really, really genuinely hated me. And, because I still use my original Xbox, or my original Xbox One, but it just, like, the longest time, and it must have all been in the software, And because like it was just something about that, the interface sucked. It was sluggish, trying to do anything. Like it was so opposite of everything that the original Xbox and the 360 did, and I was just like, what are you fucking doing, Microsoft Games Division? Like what even happened with this, and we all know that historically what happened was they announced the console. It was going to be one thing, haha, pun. And then PlayStation was like, fuck your couch. We're not doing any of that game sharing shit. Here's how you share games. I'm handing my friend a disc. Yeah. And then Microsoft was like, oh, we have an uprising on our hands and pre-orders are getting canceled. We have to backpedal fast.
An uprising. That's the best term for it.
Well, it was.
You don't want to connect? Oh, too bad.
Because, I mean, in the minds of hardcore gamers like ourselves, is there any doubt that the 360 won the console race in the 360 versus PS3 era?
I couldn't argue it.
I can, but it's all here and there. I think it was a close one.
Well, statistically, with the actual console sales, the PS3 actually jumped pretty close to what the 360 made by the end of the race.
Yeah, they pulled up near the end, but I mean,
yeah, but they had an uphill battle, much like
they did. I mean, that, and they were going with something very. I mean, they were going with something very different because PS3 was like custom technologies that
was super wacky,
a nightmare for devs to even try.
Unless you were Naughty Dog.
Well, Naughty Dog was first party, so
true. But even then, they had a huge learning curve.
Exactly. So I mean, that's only really my argument. Is like it's true. I mean, the systems were comparable.
Yeah.
But Xbox sold better because things behaved better on Xbox.
Sure.
And no one could argue in that era, Xbox Live had the better netcode.
Oh, nobody's ever going to argue that PlayStation Network, in terms of actually playing on games online, is better than Xbox Live. Like, I'm never going to argue that, and I'm PS4 first.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, in the 360 era, it was definitely the other way around. Certainly, definitely. I mean, completely, totally. No, it was like hands down. Xbox Live, when it came out, like it had it.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation finally wisened up with the 4. And I'd say it's a little more comparable, but I do believe 4 definitely has an edge there.
Well, now, my understanding of the way the networks work between consoles is PS4, you can run it through PlayStation Network, which is run by Sony, or you can run your own server. And I know that was the distinction with the PS3 was like, well, we don't have servers, so you got to build your own or pay for your own or whatever. And so my understanding on PS4 is that's how it's done there versus Xbox Live. It's run through the Xbox Live servers, like hands down. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but there you go. I mean, to come back around on all this Xboxy talk, so Thursday, I bought a Xbox One X.
How'd that go, Tim?
Well, because I had been texting Mike about this, because a week ago, I was doing some work and it was really boring, and I was looking up a bunch of stuff on Xbox One X because there's a serious smattering of exclusive Xbox games that are coming this year, and I'm like, I do hate my Xbox One, and I hear it's they finally made a console that's good. And so I texted my girlfriend hypothetically about a week, 2 weeks ago, and I was like, so if hypothetically there was an Xbox One X sitting in our home entertainment center where the Xbox One was, what would you say to me? And she was like, I will cut you. You must return it. It's too expensive. Fuck you. I already have an Xbox One. We don't need another console. And I was like, whoa. I said hypothetically.
But hypothetically, I was just dipping my toes in the water to see what you would say. And you said exactly what I thought you would say.
Yeah. So Thursday, I got off work early. It was nice. And bought an Xbox One X. Not going to lie, that price tag was definitely a little hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, I unpackaged the console. And I got to say, having, you know, because there's the Xbox One original, there's the Xbox One S, which is a little bit faster and a lot smaller, and one could argue much sexier looking. So I didn't do that. I went from OG Xbox One to the Xbox One X. And that's kind of like, I legitimately feel like the Xbox One X is basically an Xbox branded PlayStation. Because it is so much fucking smaller than the original Xbox. And I can say that because like on my desk right now, so I have to the left of my computer, like 2 inches away, I have my original Xbox One, which is now the secondary console for the girlfriend. And I have my original PlayStation because I have a PS4 Pro. And the original Xbox is like 3 PS4s sandwiched together and elongated in a giant VCR type brick. And the Xbox One X is so goddamn thin and tiny. Like, it looks like it ate a PS4 Pro, but slimmed down into the profile of a PS4. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a good looking box.
It looked like it went to the gym.
Yeah, it like the original Xbox was like the fat kid in the yard rolling around with 2 Twinkies in his hands, and somebody said, "Hey, nobody's gonna fuck you unless you get your shit together, you little cheese-eating weasel." And then like 5 years later, it comes out, and it's like fucking Ryan Reynolds. Which I think is
Deadpool Ryan Reynolds or Blade Trinity Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
I don't know though.
But anyway,
he was Shred City in
he was
Trinity.
built in Trinity.
Yeah, it was a terrible movie, but he was Shred City.
Yeah, but it was terrible in a good way.
Weren't all the Blades terrible in a good way? Let's be honest.
No, the first one was awesome.
The first one was pretty dope.
The second one, meh.
Oh, see, I disagree. I think the second one's the best one.
The third one was okay. At least it wasn't, the Street Fighter movie. Yeah, I mean, that's all I'll say. I mean, people talk.
Raul Julia had the greatest line of all time.
He did. I mean, and that's the best part of the entire movie is for me it was Tuesday's speech. But I mean,
that's true. Was the best line.
But it was people talk about bad movies like, well, at least it wasn't like Street Fighter, Let's cast the all-American Guile and Belgian martial artist Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, perfect fit, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get on my boat. I'm going to take it up this river.
So to close out my Xbox One X experience, it really does feel like, I mean, it's still that Xbox interface. The difference is the interface is actually fucking usable now, that it's not hella slow. And in terms of moving your content, like I know when I moved from PS4 to PS4 Pro, that was a bitch of a move. Like, yeah, they tell you to back up your games, but the games takes like a day to back up. And then another day to get on to the PS4 Pro. And then it's like, ugh, so shitty. The Xbox One X, I had all my shit backed up from my original Xbox One in like an hour. And then it only took another hour to get it all over to the Xbox One X. That's how you do a fucking console migration. Take notes, Sony. Sorry to say it. Take fucking notes.
Well, I mean, that and if you are PS Plus, you could already have most of your stuff already backed up, or at least important save file. Yeah. And you didn't use the USB feature for the backup? You didn't use the USB feature? Because you could use a thumbstick and back up the entire thing.
Oh, on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. It still took a day.
Okay, that's fair. Because I actually ended up not doing that.
Yeah.
When I replaced my hard drive.
Well, I might have a different situation than like you or Buster. So like from PS4 on, all of my games are digital.
Yeah,
so,
like 90% of mine are.
Okay. Well, then I have no rhyme or reason why
I mean,
my
I just
backups took a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I didn't even back up because I got a 2 terabyte hard drive replacement, and like forgot the backup step of it. I did download the the OS that they recommend.
Yeah, the thing on the stick. Yeah, I did all that shit.
But yeah, completely forgot to back up the actual games themselves because I did back up a few save files up to the cloud, and
yeah.
Then I realized it's like, oh wait, crap. So I spent a while re-downloading everything.
Well, and I don't know, maybe the PlayStation encryption is like ridiculous or something, and it has to check every single byte 12 times or something.
That I would believe, because Sony is very, very touchy about.
Oh yeah, ever since the hack
information.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even then, it's like one reason apparently there's no communication between, like, if a game exists like on PC and like PlayStation, there's no way to share it because that and Bethesda had issues like introducing modding into the console version of like Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
Yeah, I see.
You can't add new information like from the internet, so like they're very very touchy about that.
It's so funky to see, because if we remember, like on Xbox, like what was it on 360? They originally had a rule. It was like all DLC has to fit into 250 megabytes. And it's like, are you joking? Like, that is not a lot, even in 360 days. Let me tell you.
Cool,
and remember their Xbox Live Arcade. Like all Xbox Live Arcade games have to fit in a 50 megabyte package. What? No. We got 64 games that are bigger than that, son.
I know, right?
So, it's weird how they've opened up because, if you look at Xbox, they let mods like full wholesale. And I think part of that, and unfortunately, going back to that, is that the Xbox One forward is based on Windows 10 and they share that ecosystem and that building platform. And I know from everything that I've been reading, I know that that's actually a big deal because that's, even though it's a different hardware and a different OS, it's a reason that ports from Xbox One to Nintendo Switch, of all things, have been super easy to do, apparently. So that's stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know where we got it. Anyways, I like my Xbox One X. It works super fast. I still don't have a 4K TV, which is hella fucking sad. But I didn't have one for a PS4 Pro. I just want my games to look nicer and run better. Like, that's okay with me.
Because even if you don't have 4K, I mean, just the fact that its output is 4K will make 1080 look better.
Oh yeah. Like when I jumped to my Pro, like, oh goodness. It made so many games better. So many games better. Especially the loading times too.
Yeah, because it's something, I mean, I actually heard someone explain it, and it's something about like, it's essentially pixel density.
Yeah.
Like it won't go up to like the actual 4K, but even outputting to a 1080, like that 1080 output onto the monitor will still look better because it is a better pixel density than an actual 1080 signal or HD signal.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I got to give the Microsoft Xbox backwards compatibility team like huge props on their back. So I guess they just introduced this month, apparently. And I only knew about it because I'd read something about it, but I paid it no attention because I didn't have an Xbox One X. So first of all, Xbox One has awesome backwards compatibility with a shit ton of 360 games and are fantastic, and they run better, they look better, and all that stuff. So they introduced this month for certain titles like I have Fable Anniversary and I have The Witcher 2. They've introduced like even more enhancements to 360 games, including like HD texture replacements and anti-aliasing and shit. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're making my 360 games like above and beyond better than even they could possibly be. Like, that's insane.
I know.
Go team.
That classifies as like remake work, or not remaster work, should I say?
Yeah, you would think, right?
I mean,
yeah,
that's what they do for a remaster. They take the engine and they overlay fresh, shiny, new assets over it.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing is it's still emulation. So I listened to an awesome podcast about this. So they're emulating all of the 360's processors and graphics engine on the Xbox One. And then because they're emulating the same hardware and software in real time, because of just basically sort of the brute force of the console, because obviously even the Xbox One towers over the 360 in terms of power.
For sure.
So I guess with this texture thing, all there are is telling it, oh, hey, instead of using these textures, just use these HD textures from like the PC version. And I guess it still works somehow. And I'm like, damn. That is some clever shit right there. Yeah. So versus, what we have on PlayStation 4. I mean, I know me personally, I've never tried PlayStation Now. It seems kind of cool.
Me either.
But I kind of personally worry about the lag and streaming it necessarily.
Exactly. It's the fact that it's a streaming service that gets me. It's like...
Well, and it's still limited to 720p. That's the other thing. It's like, okay.
But of course, then again, I mean... PlayStation's had issues with backwards compatibility since
the 3.
Well, PS3, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there were late development PS2 titles that, for case example, Final Fantasy 12. If you bought a PS3 that could play PS2 titles, it actually looked worse on the PS3.
Yeah, you do know why that was?
Something I forget why. I knew at one point in time.
PS2 in its backwards compatibility had a PS1 chip in it. That's how it had. And the original first year run of PS3s only, which are super rare, they had a PS2 chip in it, but it was a different type of chip to save space.
Yeah. And I know one reason, because I do remember one of the reasons for the price drop of the PS3 was the fact that they removed that emulation, they removed that chip, because it's like, hey, it's not working properly for all titles. Like, certain titles are messing up. Like, if you got the Kingdom Hearts remix or Final Chapter or something that came out after the 3.
Now, not to cut you off, but can we just pause for a second and acknowledge the sheer audacity of Square Enix and how many fucking versions there are of the Kingdom Hearts games? Like, all of the fucking remasters and all of the different versions and the ridiculous titles. It's insane.
I don't have an issue with them re-releasing them like originally.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because it came to the fact that, I mean, it was content that
UK got and we didn't.
Well, speaking of like the audacity of Square Enix, again, case example, Final Fantasy 12 was re-released in Japan like 6 some months or something, or a year, something like that, after the release of the original 12. And they've done this a few times, but they label it the international version.
Yeah.
But they don't sell it outside of Japan. So, I mean, this is like the final chapter Kingdom Hearts is something, because there was some stuff in the original Kingdom Hearts that was added for the US release that Japanese players didn't have, and then they have this final mix international release, which I guess that's why they call it international, because it has the abroad stuff and then even more improvements that we didn't see for like 15 years. Yeah. Thanks, Square. Love you. Anyway. Yeah. But it's so I've never minded like the at least the initial release of them, because it's like, oh, so we finally get to experience this crap that Japanese kids 15 years ago could.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Square.
Do you guys got other stuff to talk about on technology there, Mike or Des?
No, I'm good. I let that one out.
Yeah. If I could say, Windows, could we have an actual like password recovery option, like for Skype or something? Like, if I ever lose my password, or if this Skype ever like loses my password, I'm apparently boned, sort of.
Is it because you have an original Skype password, or is it because it's not tied to your Microsoft account?
Well, I mean, it's tied to a Microsoft, but I mean, I can't. I don't remember the password because I mean, I autosave my password, so it just logs in every time it pops in. But no. So I attempted because I've been checking out like Mixer, which again is another Microsoft property apparently. So it requires a Microsoft like account for login.
Yeah.
So I attempted to use, because I have Skype on this and like on an email, and it's like, okay, use this password. Password is incorrect. This password is incorrect. This password is incorrect. Forgot my password. Welcome to account recovery. What? Fill in. What were some of the last passwords you used for this account? Oh crap! See, if I could remember that, I probably wouldn't be coming to you guys. All right. Do you use these programs? Yes, I use Skype. List 3 contacts in your Skype. It's like, oh, sweet Christ. Thank you for submitting to account recovery. We'll get back with you within 24 hours normally. Oh, all I want to do is recover my password.
Yeah.
People.
Well, that sucks.
A few hours later, our automated system has denied your access to account recovery because answers did not match. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? I just want to change my password. I ended up using a new email, so I have something to fall back on at least. But
well, I wish you guys had an app called 1Password then. Well, actually, I guess what kind of phone do you use, Des?
Android.
Okay. Yeah, I wish you had this program. I've been using this program for like, gosh, I don't know, 8 years now. It's a fantastic program. It's called 1Password. You like put all your passwords in it, but it has 256-bit AES encryption and stuff on it. And it's like super duper secure. And so like, cause like I had the same problem as you, like, oh God, I forgot my password on this thing and I'm trying to recover it on whichever site, you know? And it's like, man, this is bullshit. And so I've been using 1Password forever and it's fantastic. But I don't think, I'm looking on their website right now. I don't see an Android version. So that sucks.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably somebody makes a program equivalent of it.
More than likely.
Yeah.
If it's not spyware.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Right?
Like, yeah, Android market's great. It's like open and free and
super unsecure.
Apparently there's a freaking flashlight app that even after you uninstall the app, it leaves something in your system to steal all your information.
That's lovely.
A flashlight app. Are you kidding me? It's like it's fair because, you know, like I said, my brother was a computer tech, so I'm fairly savvy to Trojan horses and crap like this and worms and blah this, blah that. But really, you're gonna hide it in a flashlight app? I mean, it's smart, sure, but come on, douchebag.
Yeah, that sucks. Alrighty, let's spin the ring and get on to our next topic here. Okie dokie. All right, we're on life. So life topics, interesting things that happen to you and whatnot. Mike, I think you got a good one.
Yeah, I actually started going to. I don't think I actually told Des this because not fear of what he would say, but the reaction that he might give me because a little bit of inside information. Des stops me from going off the deep end more often than not, 100% of the time. Like I'll go crazy. I'll start going like something will happen, and I'll start going crazy. Like this motherfucker wants to call the demon. He wants to see the devil. And then Des will message me like, "Hey, buddy, calm down." And I'm like, "How do you know this?" So, as probably most of you well know, I am a mark for pro wrestling now. And my best friend, who's been my best friend for 30 years. We've been friends since we were 5. Shot me a message. Hey, Buster, you want to go to wrestling school? I.e., learn how to be a professional wrestler. And of course, me being me, I said, sure. Why wouldn't I want to do something like that? So I said yes. I am 2 in. I went yesterday, and then I went the week before when Tim was at his con, the Comic the game con.
You can just call it Comic Con, dude.
Okay, it's Comic Con. I didn't want to say Comic Con and have somebody go, well, correction, sir, push their glasses up and then just lay it out.
Somebody would probably be a douche and be like, well, correction, sir, Tim lives in Seattle and it's Emerald City Comic Con and you'd better call it that, goddammit.
Okay, so it's Emerald City. Okay, I've seen things about Emerald City.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, and so I was like, cool, I will. Hell yeah, let's go. Does a one-legged duck swim in circles? Does a one-legged man like a butt kicking contest? Would I like to go do professional wrestling? So I got to live my dreams of sliding into the ring and bouncing off the ropes. By the way, those ropes are not. They hurt.
Yes, despite anything you think, everything in that wrestling ring hurts. It hurts. It's awful.
There's no mat. The mat has no give. The ropes are like, the ropes are bad. Okay. So the I guess the head instructor was like, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to fall. That's the first thing you have to learn how to do is take a bump.
Lesson 1.
Yeah, lesson 1. And I am proficient in judo. So I know how to take a fall. Slap the mat, dissipate your force. So he was like, roll forward and slap the mat. So I rolled forward and slapped the mat. He's like, fall backwards, slap the mat, sideways. And he was like, you've done this before. And I said, yeah, I've done this a couple of times. And then he was like, come here real quick. And didn't say, hey, I'm going to suplex you. He just said, come here real quick. And then, grabs me, elevates me. I don't know how to take a suplex, ladies and gentlemen. And then as he lifts me up off the ground, by the way, I didn't know how to help him or stop him from doing such. Locks me perfectly vertical and goes, make sure you tuck your chin, and falls back. Right? So I tuck my chin, hit the mat with my elbows and my hands. Everything's good. Hurt like a motherfucker. Hit my back hard as shit. It hurt. It does not feel good. And he was like, yeah, okay, you don't need to do this thing. And I'm like, cool. So, we're doing more stuff. And he goes, all right, well, you already saw him take a suplex. So the first rule is tuck your chin. Once again, probably should have told me that earlier. This is the first lesson, not yesterday's lesson. Yesterday's lesson was a little bit different. So he's talking to me. He's doing all the stuff. We're all getting suplexed. And we did body slams. The OG, lift you up, body slam you. That was easy too. And then he said, well, then there's the alternate version, which is like a power slam. So I'm going to bang him off the ropes, throws the guy, just as the dude's running, full speed, not breaking stride, grabs him, flips him, and slams, like lays out too. And I go, God damn, that's going to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking around like, this is going to hurt. And I know who he's going to pick to be the first dummy. Me. 100%. Mike, come here real quick. God damn it. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back him into the ropes. I'm going to run through. You're going to run. And they say, like, have you ever seen certain, I don't know, Tim, are you a professional wrestling fan?
No, sir, I am not.
Does I know you have familiarity with it?
I was born in Flair country, sir.
Okay, cool. So certain wrestlers have like what's called a 2-step or a 3-step or a 4-step. That's how long it takes for you to get from one rope to another.
Yeah.
He's like, do a 2-step, which is basically like jump, bounce off the rope, and hope for the best. So here I go. Boom, boom, boom. I hit the rope. I go, man, that really hurts. And then I come 1 step towards him. And as I see, he's basically smiling at me, but kind of looking at me like this is going to suck. And he scoops, bam. And it hurts. Not going to lie. It hurts bad. So then that basically is the lesson is basically taking bumps.
So I remember because I was at working at Emerald City Comic Con, and you texted me, and you're like, I know what fear is now.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you were like, remember when I signed up for wrestling class? Suplex. And I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. So yesterday they did the top rope stuff.
Okay.
Like climbing on top of the turnbuckle, which isn't big. Let me tell you, it's not. Maybe the size of a football. And you got to stand on it and then jump off of it.
Yeah.
Onto a pad. Like they put a pad so you can like elbow drop and stuff, just so you can feel it. And I, of course, being a Macho Man Randy Savage fan, like I am, I was like, fuck it. Bonesaw's ready. Let me jump off this rope and do it. And I hit the mat. And every time, let me just tell you, every time Randy Savage jumped off that rope, he knew it was going to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
He knew it was going to hurt.
Like
and
elbow
then
drops, frog splashes.
Oh, even worse is like power bombs off the turnbuckle.
Oh, good God, yeah.
Towers of Fear, which, Tim, you don't know what this is, but let me explain to you what a Tower of Fear is. Tower of Fear would be, like, say I put Des on the turnbuckle to hit him with a superplex, which is a suplex off of the turnbuckle, the top.
Okay.
And then someone comes and grabs me in a power bomb position. Do you know what a power bomb what a power bomb looks like?
I do not.
Okay, let me just put this in the...
Here, I guess I can Google it. I've got my web browser open.
Yeah, just
power
bomb. Power bomb.
Wrestling. Okay.
Yes.
Probably image search, I guess. Oh, Jesus, no.
Yep, that's a power bomb. Yep. By the way, that hurts too. The Tower of Doom would be someone gets me in the power bomb position as I'm going to hit Des with a superplex and power bombs me off of the turnbuckle as I superplex Des off of the turnbuckle as well.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then they have the day two they talk the second.
So when you're being thrown on this suplex, right? Is the ring is the bottom mat, is it padded?
You have usually on an average wrestling ring, you have maybe quarter of an inch of some kind of padding, but no, it's mostly like 2x4s.
Okay, but in your training, was it padded or was it just get fucked?
At first it was. At first it was a pad.
Oh, at first.
Then they were
and then they take it away.
Do you feel comfortable? And I said, and of course I said, yeah, I feel comfortable. Thinking in my head, man, I'm gonna have a story to tell. And
shit.
Man, I was scared. It just hurt. Like,
oh my goodness.
It wasn't even like, oh, this is gonna hurt a little bit. No. This is really, really, really gonna hurt. And it did. And then we did promos, which are like basically
smack talking.
Smack talk. You've never seen Ric Flair, Tim?
No, I mean I don't watch wrestling, so I don't know any of the people you're talking about.
Essentially, picture you basically get the picture of a promo with the Spider-Man movie and Bonesaw.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna break you, little boy. It's gonna be you and me, 3 whole minutes of playtime. And that's your promo. That's your smack talk.
And then they bring up some of the greatest promo artists of all time, i.e., Ric Flair, and the instructor who has been in wrestling. Probably, he said, I think he's going into 20 some years. He's been in like indies, and he was a jobber in the WWE. A jobber is the guy who gets beat by like the big names.
Yeah, it's literally your job to lose.
To put over, which means make the superstar look impressive. Yeah. And he was like, I've met Ric Flair. He's met some of the big names, and he was like, when Ric Flair said, he was a limousine riding, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time keeping my gaiters on. He meant every word he said.
Yes.
Like, he kept kayfabe, which is like the persona outside of the world. Like how we see people, like if let's say I'll use Des and I as an example. If Des and I were in a feud, okay, in WWE, or I'll say any wrestling organization, and then someone saw us outside getting out of the same car, like because you're based. Very few wrestlers hate other wrestlers.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say
yeah.
very few because there are some people.
Yeah, of course.
That would be breaking kayfabe. It's breaking the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, for yeah, K-Fab. You know, like I said, it's the show of the act. But hilariously, that kind of became Ric Flair's thing, though. That's how he lived his life, which was very sad, and probably why he stayed in wrestling for much longer than he should have, because he kind of needed that money.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god! But no, actually, also hilariously, there's a point in time. There's one reason, just for a story about like how serious like K-Fab was in wrestling. On Kevin Nash's and oh my god, the other half of the Wolfpack. Oh my god,
Scott Hall.
Yeah, Scott Hall. I think I was trying. It's like it's not Steiner. Get Steiner out of my head. What's the last name? But yeah, on their last night in WWF at the time. Of course, they were like huge friends with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, but hilariously at that point in time, it's like Scott Hall was a heel, your bad guy, and Kevin Nash was a face. But after their last match, I think it was a pay-per-view. I can't remember exactly when, but Triple H and Shawn Michaels like came to the ring, but they all hugged each other as like a farewell, which was no.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H got moved to a title, basically a jobber of the stars, which is kind of like a jobber, except you can actually win matches against lesser names and such. But when it came to a bigger name, you're still losing. Which hilariously, it's a punishment, and it at least used to be a real thing. But hilariously, what it did is it actually opened the door for a brand new superstar to come out, which ended up being Stone Cold Steve Austin to get the limelight. And Triple H became Shawn Michaels' quote unquote bodyguard for the storyline, which also in the end ended up forming DX. So it's kind of the best thing that happened in their careers. But yeah, K-Fab was a very like, do you like just because they hugged, it's like, no, like you're basically what Stone Cold was and became, Triple H was in line to do. Okay. But he got knocked back. So yeah, it's no bueno.
Yeah.
To break character.
But next week, which will be my last week because we only did three classes. There's guys that go every day.
Oh goodness.
We are working on signature moves like finishers, and taking some of the well-known finishers, i.e., he mentioned the DDT and some other pretty awesome finishers that I'm not looking forward to taking, but looking forward to take. So I will pass the life on to someone else because I will take this whole topic over unless Tim brings up a topic, and then I can rant on the one he knows about already.
Fantastic. Well, the one I have this week is going to be reasonably long. So I worked at a booth at Emerald City Comic Con this year, 2018. I worked for a buddy of mine, Brian Morris, Zach Labs, who has been a professional cosplayer for like 20 some years now. And he has a company that does props and, will build you a costume for money. And he's had panels and stuff. And he's very involved in the Washington cosplay community. And he's also on board of directors for a new Comic-Con in a city near Seattle called Renton for Ren City Comic-Con. And that's going to have its third year soon. But anyway, the reason I worked at a booth was A, to help him out, and B, for personal reasons as well. But we were selling a brand new product that he has the exclusive distribution on, and it's called Cosbond, and it's a instant cosplay adhesive. It comes in sheets of 8x12, and it sort of peels like double stick tape, except it's not double stick tape. It's a microfiber impregnated industrial strength patent pending adhesive. And you can slap almost every material under the sun together with it, with the exception of silicones and pure vinyl. And it'll do all cloths. But at the end of the day, it is a glue. So obeying the laws of physics, depending on how fibrous your cloth is, your mileage will vary. But in terms of like adhering steel to wood, or cosplayers use a lot of XPS foam and Ava foam or Eva foam, however you pronounce it, to build their builds out of foam and stuff. And it's all, family friendly and all that sort of stuff. And, my understanding, having worked 4 days on this now and have been saying this spiel over and over, is everybody hates using wood glue and hot glue and contact cement, which is super fumic and causes cancer, and you gotta have a respirator and all this sort of stuff. Contact cement is awesome, but there's a lot of dangers with it, and it's super stuff. So this stuff is non-toxic, it's biodegradable, and apparently you can eat it. They told me that has been tested. I don't want to know who the hell tested that.
Who said I'll eat this?
Oh no! You see that there exists a job, as I've learned, of a group of people that are paid to smell another person's flatulence.
What?
I mean,
that sounds like
they take a canister.
Oh dear God!
And extract it from you. And their job is to open these canisters and take a nice big whiff. It's like, no, thank you.
So, side tangent. My girlfriend showed me this police article from Southern California where there's this dude on the side of the road with these giant, like, several gallon mason jars. And he was selling it on the side of the highway, and it was like $10 to $35 for a jar of farts. And so apparently, I guess he had like a product of like 100 jars. And when he was shut down by California law enforcement, they shut him down because A, he didn't have a business license, and B, because for some reason he only had 45 jars remaining. So,
Jesus.
Some motherfucker or multiple people bought 55 jars of this dude's alleged sealed farts in a mason jar. And it was one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen.
I mean, Tim, I believe I'm a staunch believer of if you can do it, someone will find it sexy. So I believe that.
Fair enough.
I mean, that has to be a fetish or something, there has to be.
Gotta be something, I guess. Anyways, Cosbond. So you'd slap it together, and unlike other glues, it doesn't stick to human skin. It doesn't like human oils, and so you can maneuver it around and stuff with your hand, and it doesn't stick, which is pretty great. It's safe around pets and stuff, so your dogs and your cats, it's good. And then in terms of adhesion, it's a funny glue in that it works. It activates based on pressure. So if you're applying it and you're trying to apply say to Avafoam cubes or whatever together, you can lightly put it down and it won't attach to itself. So you can use that to maneuver it around and place it where you want. And then if you give it a little bit of pressure and kind of work it around your hand a little bit, 5, 15, 30 seconds, whatever you're comfortable with, it instantly adheres. And it's super duper strong.
Pretty dope.
And also, it has a 100-pound tensile strength.
Wow.
Which is rather insane. We had these steel cubes that were attached together. And over the course of 4 days, and probably hundreds of people, and at the very least 10 super ripped fellas, nobody could rip it apart. That's the kind of adhesion that Cosbond can do. It's also been tested to go up through the wash up to 80 times before it starts losing its strength. It works in the cold. It works in the heat. and then unapplicating it, you'd throw a heat gun or a blow dryer on it, and if it gets up to 180 degrees, that's its chemical fail point, and it kind of shrivels up like a dying spider, and you can just sort of peel it away with your hand or fingernail or whatever, because it doesn't stick on you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. You can check it out at zachlabs.com or causebond.com. I want to check the spelling on that since we're an audio podcast, and I didn't do that beforehand. Zach Labs, Causebond, go Google, go. So that's Zach Labs. That's ZAK-labs.com. And if you type in causebond.com, that will redirect to Zach Labs, and you can buy it online. It sells for $9.99 a sheet. There's also 2 additional products with it. There's the first one is the attach and build, which is the double-sided stick, and that's 8x12. They also sell what's called a reinforcer, where you have one side, you have the same Causebond glue on one side, and the other side has it's like a synthetic vinyl, and it's in a matte finish in either white or black. And you would add that, like we had some straps to show just how strong this stuff holds. And it was, I think they were like wood sort of like paddles with like handles on either end. And then we had like a nylon like strap like you'd find on, I don't know, like a cable tie or like a belt buckle or a zipper or something like that. And we had the Causebond double stick on one side of the strap attached to the board. And then we had this other product, a reinforcer, kind of covering the part of the strap, attaching it to the board, which gives it some extra flex and rigidity. And we were pulling on that. Like we would just kind of throw it at people and strongmen, and, it didn't matter. Nobody was able to pull it apart or wrench it off of the material. So it's, I remember, I had actually heard, because he's a friend of mine, I had heard about it many, many, many moons ago that he was entering into testing phases and stuff with this. And he told me about it, and he had this Comic-Con booth, and he was asking me to help launch it and stuff. And I saw it a week before the Comic-Con, and I got to play around with it myself. And having, my day job being construction, and I work with aluminums and metals and stuff, and I work with Velcro a lot to like attach electronic modules and stuff. And we've all worked with Velcro, right?
Yes, I have.
How much do we hate that fucking adhesive on the back of the Velcro?
It's like fucking, it's the herpes of adhesives.
Exactly. So with Causebond, because it comes in a sheet, you could just cut it to like the back side of your Velcro and attach it onto the, the sticky side of the Velcro, not the actual Velcro part. And you could remake your Velcro and make your Velcro great again. So like anything that's like falling apart, you could like attach this. There's a gal who worked the booth. She had made most of her cosplay using this Causebond adhesive, and she was using, I can't remember what type of cloth, but she was using some sort of cloth for her costume, and she didn't do any stitches or anything like that, and she just used this Causebond stuff. So it's pretty, I was skeptical because I'm like, I work in construction. I'm like, okay, there's 2-part epoxy, and there's some steel glues that are pretty strong, but like nothing works on everything pretty much,
And then there's Gorilla Glue.
Oh, fuck Gorilla Glue up the fucking ass. Fuck you, Gorilla Glue. Fuck you. And particularly, fuck your wood glue variety as well. Piece of shit. Sorry.
That's what I wanted.
It's not good. I don't know why they make it.
Yeah, I want something that if I break, I can fix, and then I broke it because it foams up and makes some weird like creep type structure that I can't get rid of. Fuck you, Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, no. Causebond is so much fucking better. Yeah, it was wild. I was there for 4 days, and I was selling this stuff, and we had a bunch of demos. Like we had a bunch of squares of different materials, and we had cut pieces of the Causebond, attach and build the double-sided, and we would just stick it together and let people stick it together. And because it actually does work, it actually is instant. It's not like a bullshit, like, oh, it does all these things, but this is a made-for-TV ad, and it's really quite shitty once you get your hands on it.
I was about to say, did you channel your inner
my inner QVC?
Host? Yeah.
You bet your ass I did. But yeah, no, I think the really cool thing about actually working a booth, particularly with this particular thing, was like you'd see so many cosplayers because it was Comic-Con, and you'd ask them about like what they made their costume with, and then they would tell blah, and then you'd be like, well, did you hate using all of those things? And they'd be like, fuck yeah, I did. It's stupid, the pains that I went through for Cosbon. And the first day we had a lady who had like a 9-inch stiletto high heel thing, and the post had broke off of the back.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, oh shit. And she came by and she's like, can you fix this? And we're like, yeah. And me and Brian were kind of looking at each other and we're like, it's great, but it's day one. We don't want a lawsuit. And she fixed it at like 10 in the morning, and she came back at 5 and said she'd been walking around all day with it, and it was fucking hard as nails, couldn't remove it. And she was like, this shit is amazing, I'm going to tell everybody. So it was sort of that. It was really cool because it's like you're selling something and it's like $10-12 depending, like the attach and builds $10, the reinforcers $12, and you'd show it to them and you could see on their face that like, oh my god, this thing, like, it works, And I realize I'm sounding super salesman-y, but that's what I fucking did for 4 days, was selling this shit.
You were good at what you did, man.
So it was like, it was cool to see that it was, it was gratifying to see that it like worked instantly and people's face light up. There's like a bunch of people who'd be like, shut the fuck up, it doesn't do that, does it? And then they'd like try and pull, wood apart from like some foam, and they'd be like, what? Why am I using anything else? What is wrong with the world? How has this not existed before?
I actually have a good friend who is into cosplay.
Yeah.
And he uses, his thing is he uses cardboard.
Oh, I like him already.
Yeah, he uses, I mean, he does some pretty cool stuff. Like he did the Ghost Conductor from Rick and Morty.
Nice.
Yeah, he did that. He's done a
what are you gonna use? A ghost train? Ooh. Yeah, the Ghost Conductor is gonna use ghosts. Big surprise.
He did a Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
With the full like expanding sword thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so I made mention to him about it.
Right on.
Because I figure hell, if one of my buddies can front it, I can also, like I said, I've never met a microphone I didn't like, so I could definitely. Are you tired of this happening? And
yeah.
Show like a helmet fall, a hat, a face piece just break. Well, yeah. Try this. You know what I mean?
Nah, no, it's really cool stuff. I really hope it does well. My cell phone case actually snapped the second day, and I used some of the reinforcer stuff, and it snapped in the corner. Corner's cell phone case, you're fucking done. And I just applied it because you just apply it like tape, and it's the one I use for work still, so it's still holding. I'm like, this shit's awesome.
You set it and you forget it.
Yeah, well, and the other part about it is if you set it and you apply pressure and you leave it alone for 24 hours, like don't touch it, it'll strengthen to 5 times. It's instant strength. Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. Like here, I'll shoot you guys a link so you can. I mean, there's not really much to look at. It's just a fucking sheet. But
did you send me the link already?
Oh yeah, but it's through the Skype thing, so then Des can see. Yeah. And then cleverly, Brian also came up with another idea because a lot of people have problems with managing their what's called EL and LED wires, like for like helmets and stuff and like Under Armour. And so they also sell strips where you've got glue on either side, but the middle is clear, see-through smooth plastic. So you'd like cut that in like strips, like smaller strips, and make like a hoop, and then just run your wire underneath, so then you could pull out the wire again because the copper is going to give out before the glue does. And then they also sell a cosplay health pack, which has a collage of the attach and build, the reinforcer, and the wire manager. And it's like travel size, so you could fit it in your back pocket. So if like shit breaks while you're like showing your shit, you can just throw it together.
So what you're telling me, if you were an enterprising young person and you were like, I have no building skills, but I could buy some of this and just repair everybody's.
Yeah, or build your own. Like, see, I found that I actually was able to garner a lot of like reality with like people who weren't cosplayers. Because like I've cosplayed like at a Comic-Con at one time, and I was Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, and that's stuff like I have, like suspenders and a red shirt, and just threw my leather work boots on, and I do happen to have a brown coat because I'm a fucking brown coat, goddammit. But those are all like real things that exist, so it's not like there's a ton of work put into it. Like I saw a bunch of Destiny cosplayers, RNG peeps. And there's like some cool ass warlocks and titans and stuff. Obviously, a lot of fucking hunters were there. I think there was a point, I think Saturday night, where I was super tired, and this hunter came up and he's like, "Oh, tell me about Cosmon." And I was like, "I'd like to, but you're a hunter, so." But we fixed a warlock helmet. And then a Titan's gun was falling apart. And we fixed that, and and you'd like fix it. We weren't really a repair shop, but people would come up because Cosmon was sponsoring. There's like a cosplay repair hospital at Comic-Cons, and we were sponsoring them with like a bunch of the adhesive, and they would like run out, and then they would just send the people up and be like, "Oh, hey, we ran out of the free stuff down there. Can you like fix this?" And we'd fix it, and then I'd walk around, and they'd come back and be like, "This shit is like unbelievable." So it's cool stuff.
Yeah, we told you.
Yeah. And then for our listeners, you can go to zac-labs.com or Google Cosbond, COSBOND, instant costume adhesive. And on his website there, he sells, so you can order it, and it ships anywhere in USA and Canada. Right now is where the laws say it's legal. So it's cool stuff. And then getting into working at a Comic-Con versus like going, because like I've gone to at least 50 cons in my time on this earth. And I guess technically I worked the first two PAXs, but that was a different thing, and I was trying to be like a podcaster news person, and I was young and ambitious, and we totally cheated on the things to get free passes, but whatever. Working at a booth, I have to say, having worked in construction, working at a booth at a Comic-Con might have been the hardest job I've ever done in my fucking life. Like, I was not prepared for the level of energy and always on and doing everything like now. It's fucking exhausting, and I have such new respect for like anybody who runs a booth in any convention ever now, because it is it's ridiculous, because like you go to, like, you've been to a Comic-Con, right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm going this year to another one.
Have you been to a convention of any kind, Des?
I live in the South. They don't come around here very often.
Okay, well, okay. Well, but you've seen like a home and garden show, or like
a trade convention,
a farmer's market, or a trade convention or something, right? And some dude's got a booth and that sort of shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's
So it's fucking ridiculous running a booth. Like, so the booth we had, first of all, was supposed to have been about 3 times the size that it was. Our booth had the grand total of fitting maybe 2 people side by side. And we had 4 people working the booth almost at all times, and at least 20 some people in front of the booth almost at all times. So like working in that little elbow space is definitely challenging. That's for sure. And then the other thing is, it's like, as a public person, you come to a thing and it's like, oh, the show runs from like 10 to 5 or 10 to 6 or something like that, and you're there early to get all the shit set up, you're there late to break stuff down, you're parked way the fuck away from the convention center. And then
it's different, right?
Well, and mine was super fucked this year. So in Seattle, on Friday, it ran 4 days. It ran Thursday to Sunday. For whatever fucking reason, they had decided to dig up the roads in front of the convention center, which is in like prime downtown Seattle. Like it's already hella busy. And not only did they dig up the roads Friday morning at like 5 a.m., so everything was a mess, but they dug them up in front of the entrance to two of the biggest parking garages in the city. So, like I left my home at I think 6, and I didn't get parking until 1:30.
God.
Yeah, it takes me like an hour to drive to Seattle in decent traffic. So it's like, fuck me. Like it was so fucked. And then I learned as I got onto the convention that shit was even more fucked that morning, besides the road construction, was because I guess, and once again, fork in your ear, not a political podcast or anything. I'm just saying this because I was there. There were, like, I guess a mob of protesters because the convention center is right next to the Seattle courthouse for whatever reason. And, there was a bunch of protesters protesting about, gun rights and stuff like that. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it fucked up traffic and ruined my day. And also, I think they kind of deserved it because what happened was, I guess they joined hands and they laid down in the middle of the fucking street. Like, the street where people drive. And so what happened? Of course they got fucking run over. Of course they got fucking run over. And caused even more pandemonium in downtown Seattle. So, not political, but at the same time, if you lay down in the fucking street,
I mean,
visibility's low, you're going to get fucking run over, and I think you deserve it. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's what's going to happen, though, right? Like, you would assume...
You would think that would be common sense.
Yeah, and like... And I don't know what's going through protesters' heads where it's like, let's lay down and get run over because that's going to change politicians' minds on guns or whatever. Like that's a great fucking piece of logic right there. Just saying. Someone needs to get me off this rant. So yeah, anyway, new respect for people who run booths. At Sunday when it was breakdown, which was really crazy and pandemonious, there was, I actually ended up being the manager for this whole company. There's this thing at least at my Comic-Con where there's like this tower of shirts and it's like 4 stories tall and it's like every nerdy shirt you could imagine.
That happened at WizardCon.
Okay, yeah, it's probably the same. Probably the same guy then.
For shirts is what I called it because it's inside and outside.
Yeah. So I was talking to the dude, and then I was like, "Oh man, are you glad that the convention's over?" And he's like, "No, not really." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I'm the manager for this company, and like, our breakdown goes until 3 a.m. and then we get on a bus and then we drive to Detroit." And I was like, "Are you fucking shitting me right now? Are you fucking shitting me?" And he's like, "No, I'm not." So our day has just begun, man. So I'm not excited about it. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry." Good luck. Have a safe drive, dude. So it's like I have such newfound respect for like just the horrors and the exhaustion and the insanity that it goes on to just running a booth.
Going to one is exhausting.
Oh God, yeah, I agree. Having been a goer, like. It is nothing like being a booth person. A booth person, it's so much harder and it's so much worse. And there's so much more time and energy and like
stress.
I don't know. It was wild how exhausting it was for me, who's used to working in construction, But at the end of the day, you go home and you relax. And this is just sort of like you just kind of keep going until you arrive at your bed. And then you get up early and you do it all over again. So it's
and imagine how
wacky.
I feel knowing. Oh, we lost Des.
Uh-oh.
I'm about to say, and imagine how I feel with the fact that I have 4 days. I'm going to the Wizard Con for 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna pause and add him back? I guess.
No, keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the 4 days. I'm not. I'm looking forward to it because it sounds fun, but I'm not looking forward to it because it seems
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went for a day and was kind of exhausted. So 4 is just going to be ridiculous. And I think I'm going to cosplay one day during that during the 4. And I'm going. Yeah. I'm going as. Have you ever seen? You've seen Afro Samurai, I assume.
Oh yeah, of course, dude. Come on, brother.
I have
come
to
on.
ask. Some people you have to ask, man. Like, not everybody's are anime nerds like I am or like we are.
Well, and just as a thing, I think it's kind of hard to be a succinct watcher of all things on Cartoon Network just because of usually the hours when shit runs on Adult Swim and also its availability on other platforms. Just saying.
Well, I'm not going as Afro because I think that would be in this culture in this climate.
You're super white.
I am super white. I'm going as Kuma.
Okay.
And I have the bear head is being built, and obviously it's.
Are you building it or what's happening?
I'm painting it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not building it, but I'm definitely going to paint it. And the costuming is easy because it is literally a traditional samurai garb, and that's easy to find.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we had a samurai, like full samurai shogun looking dude in his armor that he'd all made himself out of like aluminum and lighter weight composite steels. And we were showing him this Cosbond, and he was like, "Man, that would have saved me so much fucking time." He's like, "Do you know how many rivets are in this thing?" And we're like, "We're sorry."
They're like, I'm guessing a bunch.
Yeah, there's so much. He's running around, clank, clank, shink, shink, sort of thing. So it's crazy. So yeah, so I worked at Comic-Con. Newfound respect. Buster's gonna cosplay. Did you have any interesting life stories to share with us before we bounce topics, Des?
Nothing that interesting. It's like, how do I introduce this idea? But at work, we have come up with a new saying. Sure happy it's Thursday. To try an acronym and create a positive usage of shit.
Okay.
That's about it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Do you have the same work schedule as me? Is Thursday your last day?
That's our last full day.
Okay, so it's like me. You work Sunday through Thursday. Yeah.
Well, Monday through.
Well, Monday.
Friday's like a stock day, so it's nothing too bad. I get done by like noon, like before noon. Get my check. Go cash it.
May I ask what your job is, or will that get you in trouble, Des?
Warehousing.
Okay, fair enough.
We ship to gas stations, national parks, churches, this, that, and the other. Your basic goods from cases of water and cases of water to cases of sodas and candies and cigarettes and blah this, blah that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that industry. I have a couple of friends here who work at Amazon distribution centers because obviously Washington State headquarters of Amazon. There's a shit ton of warehouses here.
Yeah.
I guess the only difference is they have Kiva bots, which you maybe heard of.
I am familiar with the Kiva.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It basically picks up the shelf and brings it to you as opposed to you going to it. It's quite nice and quite scary.
Because they can go insane and.
What if these go insane and just do bumper cars?
Yeah, they can go insane and hurt people. Apparently,
I used to work in a factory for. It's one reason, like, except for video games, I never I understand like coding issues because we used to work with these automated MIG welders.
Okay.
And we had this one that nobody could figure out why. But for MIG welder, which uses copper wire with an electric current rather than a gas, you have to maintain copper tips, steel nozzles to direct the gas to get a better weld. Blah this, blah that. Anyway, but they default to whenever the wire doesn't feed out, it will come to a service position. Well, one of these robots, whenever it would come to a service position, which normally like extends out, comes out to where like inside the cell to where you could reach it. But this one, for some reason, as it would come out, it would like reach out, reach back in, reach out, reach back in, reach, come out, and then finally the door would open and you could service it. Nobody could figure out why.
Weird.
It was apparently like so many like reprogrammings and such that it was basically a ghost in the system that created some kind of conflict that even though you couldn't see it, there's something in the system creating like a feedback loop of some kind. So yeah.
Yeah, I can understand ghosts in the machine. I do automatic doors, and a bunch of them are computer controlled these days.
Yeah.
And I have this one computer controlled door, and for whatever reason, like I assume you understand the term ladder logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're usually programmed with ladder logic, and every fucking thing in this one particular automatic door, every yes is a no, every no is a yes. I'm just like, I can't even understand what the fuck is happening. Like, it makes no sense. But that's the way it's programmed, and it works normally, but except it's programmed 100% backwards. Like, it's so fucking weird. So fucking weird. So, alrighty. Let's spin the ring and get on to whatever our final topics are. All right, we got entertainment, movies, TV, and books. So what all have you guys been watching, reading, looking at, or are looking forward to?
Dave, you want to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Watching, obviously I've restarted watching The Office with my girlfriend because that's what we do. Restarted watching Community. Reading, however, I think this would be a bit interesting, is I've been reading the Player's Handbook for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons for an upcoming campaign that the one and only Des Raven is going to be GMing.
DMing, sir.
I'm sorry. GMing is the phrase.
The generalistic term.
Yeah, I know. It's DMing. I don't know if you knew this, Des, but Tim has GM because it was Pathfinder, a game, and he has never played before.
Yeah, but then again, you're also an author, so half of the requirements are like there.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really a requirement, but
But yeah, I've been watching that. I've been reading that. I've been helping Des find the books because you couldn't find the DM'd guide, right?
Yeah,
that's the one you
DMG.
couldn't find. The DMG, which was awful fun to try to find that. Let me tell you.
Tell me about it.
Because when you find it, it's either the 3rd edition or the 4th edition. You're like, this doesn't look right. Because the art styles between the editions are vastly different.
Yeah, they like to choose certain iconic images.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but other than that, I haven't really been. I've been, like I said, working and reading the Player's Handbook because I am a Pathfinder guy, so I know how Pathfinder works, but I don't know how 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons work, and it's totally different.
Oh yeah. I will say, like, since Wizards of the Coast took over, like, they've started to streamline a lot of things in it. A lot.
It's very different, but I'm looking for I've been telling you, Des, when doing our messages, I'm looking forward to playing it because learning how to play a different system is always fun. So whenever that starts, that's pretty much what I've been having going on. That and losing my mind, because this kind of somehow does fit into TV shows, because Rick and Morty loves the Szechuan sauce from McDonald's. Losing my mind because my local McDonald's didn't have the Szechuan sauce until like 2 days ago. and they didn't have the Shamrock Shakes, which is all I really wanted. And I sent Tim a voice message from my iPhone of me pretty much losing my mind.
It was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'll be honest. I didn't get to save the first voicemail, but I got the other two, and I have those. Those will be in the outtakes of this week's episode of Fork for sure, because it's just Mike at maximum rantiness. It's so delicious.
It's me baking, Des, is the best way I could bring it up. You know how I get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I think the funniest thing about that was that we'd actually gone like within an hour or two of each other to go get the Szechuan sauce.
Yeah.
And I shot you
of it.
Yeah, I sent him pictures of it. Do you watch Rick and Morty, Des?
Not something I had gotten into.
You should check it out. It's
one of those things on my to-do list.
Yeah,
like for sure. It's definitely it seems interesting what I do know of like the characters and such.
Yeah.
Because I am fairly familiar with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because hilariously, I think the show creator also has a game studio.
Yeah, and he also did Community.
Yeah, but but this game studio actually released I forget what they call it, but it was a VR Rick and Morty experience. And
coming to PSVR this month, next month, something like that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I watched that, and like I said, I love the characters and such, so it's nothing like wrong there, but this is something I haven't got. One of those things I haven't gotten around to.
You strike me as a man who admires intelligent thought and writing. And I think one of the best kept secrets of Rick and Morty is that it's a super fucking intelligent show.
Yeah.
Despite its posture as a hyper-violent comedic cartoon, it's secretly one of the best written things I've ever come across.
Despite Rick saying, take your opinion and stick it way, way, way up your butthole.
Up there. Yep.
Way up your butthole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're at. I just came back from the bathroom.
I was just talking about how I'm reading the player's handbook, and that I sent you the message, and I finally got it though. I did get it, and when I got it, I was like, listen, I don't care if this takes me 9 seasons. I'm getting that Szechuan sauce. And the lady was like, huh? And then I heard one guy, because I guess it was like over a speaker. He was like, and I was like, he gets it.
That's
fantastic. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I want a large Shamrock Shake too. And the lady was like, do you want whipped cream? And I was like, you're damn right, I want whipped cream. But that's pretty.
I bought a shirt at Comic-Con that is Rick, and it's all done up in like Chinese art style of like Szechuan sauce, and he's looking crazy and he's dipping it into a thing. And because I figured I had to now that I've had the Szechuan sauce. I gotta say, it's a little disappointing, the Szechuan sauce, having actually had it now.
Do you remember the original?
No, I don't remember ever getting the original during the Mulan thing. I mean, obviously it was there and I was alive then and all that sort of jazz, but I just don't. Yeah, it's not a thing. If I had it, I don't remember it. You know,
it's different from what I remember.
Yeah.
Because
so
when I remembered it was way spicier.
If you go onto podcast services and look up McDonald's Szechuan sauce, they have a 3-part expose documentary style podcast.
Yes.
On this, and I'm not gonna lie, I listened to fucking all of it. It's actually pretty good journalistic stuff. They've got a bunch of interviews with the people and them going like, "What the fuck is this Rick and Morty show? Like, why do they want us to bring a sauce? Who has the recipe for that? You know?" And it's quite interesting. And there's a bunch of testimony from like the people who like, you know, stormed that one McDonald's in the Midwest and like protested and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting podcast. I'd take a listen to it. It's about an hour and a half long. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad you got your Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, man, I have extras now.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I told the lady, I was like, throw a couple more in there. She's like, I gave you as many as I could. I was like, I got 60 nuggets. put more sauce in. And the girl was like, all right. I'm like, I'll pay for it. And she was like, all right. So she threw a bunch in. She's like, $1? And I'm like, done.
They weren't supposed to do that, by the way.
No.
I got friends, and it's supposed to be 1 cup to 20 nuggets.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They having formerly worked at a McDonald's for over a year. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
They're particular about sauce distribution.
1 cup for 20 nuggets. Who do you think I am, Gandhi? I don't know if you knew this about me or not, but I'm a dipper.
Oh
yeah. Where was it going with that? Szechuan sauce. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, since we're talking about it anyway, I think I best summed up the sauce as it tastes like the best prepackaged teriyaki sauce that you could get at a store or something. And even saying that, that's not saying a whole lot. Because prepackaged teriyaki sauce is awful unless it's made fresh, in my opinion. So I would say it's like a solid 7, maybe 7.5.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. Yeah, it's pretty good. Not
That's
great.
all right.
It doesn't blow my mind, but it's pretty good.
I mean, I usually get sweet and sour, so it fit right in.
Yeah, there you go. So I finally redeemed myself in your eyes, Mike.
I know this, but tell everybody why.
Okay, so many shows ago, me and Mike got into a bit of a spit because A, I'd never seen any of the John Wicks, and he'd never seen any of the Mission Possibles. Mike has corrected his action many episodes ago. I had failed up until 4 nights ago. Not my fault. Jessica kept forgetting the Blu-ray.
Blame Jessica.
Yeah, so I've seen John Wick, and I've seen John Wick 2. I'm all up to date and ready for the 2020 Chapter 3.
And the series.
Oh yeah, there's a TV series. I'm still now that I've seen the movies, I'm like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what network it's on and who they get to play John Wick. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
So what did you think about John Wick?
So I fucking loved John Wick 1. I wasn't entirely sure. Like, I kind of knew. Like, see, like, this is the kind of blackout I had on it. Like, I knew it was Keanu Reeves. I knew he shot people in it. And I knew it was about assassins. I had no idea that it was going to lure me in with this, like, 45-minute, like, he's got his girl, and oh, shit, she's dying from some mysterious thing. That sucks. Oh, man, that sucks. Oh, he's got a really nice house. Oh, shit. She sent him a post-death note? That's so fucking... Oh, my God, it's a dog? What the fuck? And then, you know... What happens. Spoiler alert for John Wick, obviously. You know,
they fought for the wrong
fucking
person.
Reek from fucking Game of Thrones, that little fucking shit. You know, steals his car and shoots his motherfucking dog. And then as the story unwinds and John Leguizamo, who's, you know, let's be honest, is like the Hispanic Samuel L. Jackson. He's in fucking everything.
He is in everything.
It's super true. You know, he comes by and he's like, "Who the fuck did you steal this car from?" And he's like, "I don't know, some dude showed his dog." And he's like, "You stole this car from John Wick." And they're like, "Who the fuck is John Wick?" And then it cuts to like the mafia, the Russian mafia dude. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'll make it right, father." And he's like, "Who the fuck did you steal this car from?" You know, "I don't know, some guy, John Wick." And he's like, "Oh,
we're dead."
Fuck. Shit. Pours himself a drink. Like, we're so fucked. Like,
you know, Jedi's gonna feel this in the morning.
You know, and that whole like, you know, because like up to that point, like I didn't know what was going on in this movie, you know. And then he's like, and then I was like, "Who the hell's John Wick?" And he's like, he's the boogeyman we would send to kill the boogeyman. And I'm just like, oh shit, shit's about to go down, son. And then, you know, of course, mayhem ensued. And I gotta say, fight choreography, I said that terribly the first time. I retcon that shit. was fantastic. I loved it. Like, Keanu Reeves still got it, you know? Like, that whole, like, gun and disarm and kill and punch and disarm and fucking 6 taps to kill fucking somebody. Like, it was fucking dope.
A triangle choke and you shoot him in the fucking head?
Yeah. And sometimes twice. Just because.
Just for GP. You got to do it.
Yeah. And I actually
shouldn't have killed my dog.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I was definitely, like, it did what it was supposed to do as a story. I was with him. I was like, you better burn all the motherfuckers. Kill them all. Kill them all. They killed your dog.
Yep.
You know? Like, for real. You know? Like, and I don't know. And maybe from, like, a personal level, I'm pretty sure you knew this about me, Mike, but once upon a time, I had a girlfriend, and she was murdered. So from a personal standpoint, like, any sort of, like, post message, like, thing you can hang on to, I was with John Wick. I was like, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Kill them all. Kill them all. You know,
kill Daisy. Fuck them up.
I know. Like, oh God. And of course the dog's name was fucking Daisy. Jesus Christ. Seriously? Ugh. For real. So watched John Wick 1, loved it. I gotta say, special shout out to the way he used his vehicle as a weapon in the last part of the movie. Like, that was just really well done. Looked like pretty much pure practical effects. You know, like, I'd never seen anything like that. I've seen a shit ton of action movies, you know?
It was. Did you see the second one? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the fun part about the second one was I got to watch that with a girlfriend who'd somehow not seen the second one, despite raving about the first one. So we watched that together. And so my thoughts on the second one are, I think it's very good. I don't think it's as good as 1. But obviously it's chapter 2 of what will be a 3-part saga, because obviously it ends on that cliffhanger. So I think from that sense, it's a little weaker. I thought the stuff with, like, sort of expanding the world of the assassins and all that sort of stuff, and there's, like, you know, secret stuff to get out of stuff, and also particularly the reuniting Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne on the screen. Like, every fucking line, I was waiting for them to, like, make a joke about the Matrix. Like, there's a point in the film where Lawrence Fishburne's characters is like, "You're the one who saved me," and I'm like, oh, you guys can't do that.
Even if you drop something like, "Did you take your red pill today?" Something like a little throwaway line.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it too. I was like, yes, do it.
Well, what I got in the film was a true sense of, like, those actors having a fucking ball with their lines, even though they didn't say anything Easter eggy or anything like that. It was just like, oh, these guys had a fucking blast together. Let's get real here. You know, because you don't work on a trilogy and not get close to one another. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
And I just got a message from Jessica. Still recording, babe.
No, Des, I know you've seen
almost
those before.
done.
You've seen both of the John Wicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about it 1,000 times on RNG.
Oh yeah. Like, masterful. Like, some of my favorite, like, action movies of all time.
Yeah, the fight choreography is ridiculous. That's what, that's one of my favorite things. I was like, yo, there's no cut the shit moments. Like, he literally triangle choked the dude and then shot him in the head twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scene with the gangster, you killed John Wick. You killed his dog. You stole his car. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Thanks. You killed us all. So that was one of the better movies for action, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, everything was clean. Like, it wasn't anything too horribly tropey in it. Like,
No.
I mean, at least not awkwardly so.
I think, because I watched them back to back, super fresh eyes on it. I think the only tropey thing I could say about it is sort of the way the second one ended. I feel is a little tropey in that it's like, he's an assassin, you know, he's out, he gets pulled back in, he gets pulled back in further. Cue the third movie. Like that's
Yeah, I'll agree.
That's been done, you know.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might be back.
Yeah.
Whoa. And it's actually really good also to finally have a role where you can actually watch Keanu Reeves' movie and not think of him
as Neo,
as like Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because in the Matrix is like, I know kung fu. It's like in my head every time I watch that movie, I had a little whoa. You know, I mean, I can't help it. But in John Wick, it's like that role finally left my mind.
You know, there was a whoa in the first John Wick film, right?
Oh, I know, but still, it's nothing. It's like it was nothing I like really overtly picked up on. You know, like at least initially. Yeah. But I mean,
you're right.
Actually something
I didn't pick up on it either. I watched the little making of because I had the Blu-ray, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, this scene right here, we're totally doing the Keanu Reeves whoa," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I see it now."
I see what you did there.
But it's funny. I didn't think. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say Keanu Reeves is definitely typecast. But as far as like not thinking of Neo, the other thing that I thought of in terms of not thinking of Keanu Reeves is whatever the hell his character was in Speed. You know? You know? Yeah.
What was his name?
Yeah, I don't know. The Speed guy. Speed Keanu Reeves.
I know, right?
Speedy.
The dude from Speed.
Yeah, exactly. So entertainment. I saw John Wick 1 and 2. Thought they're great. Can't wait for the third one. I really hope the third one is just him in like an Alaskan cabin against all of the assassins. Like that's really what I want. Maybe that's just my own thought on it. But yeah, that's what I hope it is. But I know that speaking of that, John Wick Chapter 3 starts filming next month. So that's happening for show. And on the final topic of John Wick, I really hope Deadpool 2 is good because it has John Wick's director. Yeah. So let's hope that that's great as well. Oh, sure. I also watched Coco this week.
What'd you think about it?
Well, so I had a weird misconception. Have you seen Coco, Des?
I have not.
The Pixar Hispanic Day of the Dead movie.
Oh, that movie. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about now, at least.
Okay. So I had a total misconception about this movie. I literally thought it was a Disney Pixar musical. You know,
I can see where you draw that conclusion.
Yeah. Well, that's because, I swear to God, I read articles about it being, it's Disney Pixar's first musical, you know? And so in my head, I'm like expecting something like Moana or Hercules or any of the the classic Disney ones. And there's 2 songs in the film. So when I got to the end of the film and my girlfriend was like, "Oh my God, it was so good," because she's Hispanic and she was like, "This is for my peoples," and she was like, "What'd you think, babe?" And I was like, "I liked it. That was not a fucking musical." And then she's like, "Why the fuck did you think it was a musical?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's what I read. I was expecting more musical stuff in it." And I guess the misconception on my part is that it's a movie about music, not a musical per se.
Yeah.
And so really my only sort of problem with it is thinking, all right, 30 minutes in, getting ready for our first big Disney. Nope, not happening. 40 minutes in, all right, there's going to be a music. Nope. Hour in, I wonder, is it just the back half of the movie's a musical? Credits are rolling. I'm like, maybe after the credits. Like that's literally what I thought. So, shame on me for thinking that, I guess.
Meanwhile, you're going, nope. Nope. Okay.
Yeah. So, I liked it. I thought the art design, particularly in the Land of the Dead, was super dope. Real nice. It kind of reminded me of like a Hispanic, and this is kind of a weird comparison. It's like a Hispanic Tron, almost, because it's very elaborate and there's lots of colors and neon colored things and lights and stuff. And I mean that in as little a derogatory way as possible. But yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was very good. So the last thing I got on entertainment, and I know you and I talked about this probably last podcast, but Netflix is doing Lost in Space.
Yep.
And they had a more official full trailer. Have you seen this trailer, Mike?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Des, do you have any love or affinity for Lost in Space?
Not particularly.
Okay, fair enough. Had you seen in any of the original show or the 90s?
Oh, of course, yeah, I've definitely seen some of the original show. I mean, come on.
Okay.
It's like, stuck in the summer with my mom. I mean, I watched crap tons and crap tons of like old shows, like mainly like Little House on the Prairie, Bonanza,
sure,
Waltons. But yeah, a few Lost in Space episodes came up here and there. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to shoot you all a link to this trailer for the new Netflix series. And we are going to watch it. And why the fuck? Okay, I'm trying to copy and paste the YouTube thing, but it keeps copying vamp for a minute. I gotta pee. That's frustrating. Let's try this again here. There we go. Okay.
Okay. I just got it.
Okay.
And clicking on it now.
Okay.
I'll wait until we can do the commentary thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We've all done that.
Okay. You want to do that?
We can.
Yes. Do you have the ability to cue it up, Des?
I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you at 0-0?
I'm at 0-0.
0-0.
All right. 5, 4, 3, and actually, I'm gonna play it so it comes through my microphone. So if you want to mute me for a minute,
all right.
We'll do that as well. All right.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
We're lost. No kidding. This is Will Robinson of the 24th Colonist Group. I'm the first human to discover evidence of an alien intelligence. What is that? It's okay. Will. He's with me.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Oh.
We may not be safe here. How long do we have?
Weeks.
Gently.
Where the hell are you?
There is a rule that's written in stone. The Robinsons stick together. It's safe out there. You don't know what you might find. John, where are you?
Who are you? It's complicated.
If you have any
Okay.
Mm.
We're back.
That looks. I mean, when I first saw the robot, I was just like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
I kind of like the bulky robot design, but it kind of grew on me by the end. I'm gonna watch it.
I think the hook, and I kind of like this change, to be honest, is that the alien is the robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That seems pretty neat to me.
Yeah.
Also, the female towards the end there, I guess that's gonna be, well, I guess Mrs. Smith in this version.
Yeah.
And my sort of thoughts as for whatever they're going for is it's like, it looks like Interstellar meets The Martian meets obviously Lost in Space. And I kind of dig that vibe, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'll give it a watch. I mean,
Yeah.
It comes out April 13th, for God's sakes.
Yeah, like I'm super stoked considering coming off of Altered Carbon. It seems like Netflix is just throwing out the big guns in the sci-fi realm this year. God knows what else they're gonna throw before the year's out. But yeah, I think it looks. I'm even more excited for it personally than I was on that teaser trailer, which didn't really show much. But I'm massively looking forward to it. So I can't wait for that. But that's me personally. You're obviously looking forward to it, but perhaps a little skeptical there, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, because of Altered Carbon, Netflix original series, I'm all for.
Sure.
So I'm like I said, I'll watch it. It might be the member berries or the nostalgia of the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the original series was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when I saw the robot, I was like, ugh, because I knew what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Then the trademark, the Danger Will Robinson. I was like, all right.
Of course.
I would have actually been severely disappointed if they did not have that line in the trailer.
Yeah, it was even in the teaser trailer,
Yeah.
which they had a month ago, but it didn't really show anything. It just showed a bunch of like space and humanity evolving, and then it had a shot of them, and then it closed with the Netflix logo, and then the Danger Will Robinson was the original trailer.
Yeah.
But
and also, speaking of Blade Trinity, it's good to see her back.
Parker Posey?
Finding work.
Yeah.
Who is listed as Dr. Smith.
Yep.
So yeah.
It kind of seems like from the trailer, like maybe she's already on the planet they go to. Anybody else get that vibe?
That's the Bond. Yeah, that's seems to be what I've gotten. Or
Yeah. So what's your feelings on it, Des? You gonna watch it?
I'll give it a shot. Yeah. I mean, it seems interesting. Like, for sure. Like I said, it's definitely like a more
modern, dark sci-fi take on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like kind of your average like reboot, basically.
Sure.
Where they took something kind of fun and adding, like I said, the whole thing is like, how long do we have? Weeks. It's like, oh, so there's time pressure. So yeah, okay. It's like,
I think the thing for me, being a fan of the previous versions of Lost in Space, is it seems like, well, it's a show again, which I think is important for that particular property. But also it seems like, and I know I'm probably alone in this, like I actually really liked the 90s movie. But it seems like they're taking the elements of that people liked and thought were promising and worked, but didn't think that they worked in the 90s. And they're incorporating that into obviously the modern take on sci-fi Martian Interstellar. I mean, it looks super Interstellar / Martian-y just from the set designs and, Ridley Scott kind of looks, especially with the helmet and the lights shining down on the person. Yeah. So I think that's what it's going to go. But as far as it, there's a lot of talk these days about turning shows super dark, which I think can definitely be said for, Altered Carbon and the new Star Trek TV show, Star Trek Discovery, which I think is fantastic, but it is a truly R-rated Star Trek. As far as the darkness goes, I read an interview with the lead actor, who's also was formerly Captain Flint on Black Sails. That although it does look super dark in the trailer, he said there is more humanity and humorous parts to it. And that he said that Netflix is actually shooting for a PG rating with this show because they still want to keep that you can watch the show with your family kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
well, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm kind of fine with that.
Like darkness, mystery, and intrigue is definitely going to pull in a lot more people than your more feels oriented type thing would, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, for sure. So I only have one other thing to talk about in entertainment. Or actually, I have two other things, but they're small things. Did you have stuff to talk about on entertainment movies, or did you already talk about stuff when I was AFK, Des?
No, I had not.
Okay, well, what do you got?
I don't know. As far as movies go, I can't say I've actually seen anything interesting.
Okay.
Or even really so much TV series. The only thing I've really watched on TV recently is the closing ceremonies of the Winter Olympics.
Okay, really good.
Well, my wife is a huge K-pop fan, so that's why we watched it.
I have no idea. Was there a K-pop closing person?
There were two of them, fairly big. CL from a former group, and one of the bigger groups of Korea, EXO, were closing, doing musical arrangements. But yeah, everything went well. It makes sense because the Winter Olympics were in Korea.
Sure.
And the fact that they actually had North and South Korea presented under a unified Korea flag.
That's interesting.
Was actually a huge big deal, actually. But
that is definitely very interesting.
Yeah, and they apparently had to have like a lot of talks between like North and South Korea just to make it like even possible. But the fact that North and South Korea were a unified Korea under this Olympics, and so like I said, it was a very interesting thing. I guess the only thing that I haven't really talked about that could qualify as entertainment is something you've kind of proofread for me in the past, and I haven't really brought up a lot in our cast. But at one point in time, or still am, but at one point in time, I was like rebitten by the writing bug.
So I have a question before you continue on that writing bug.
Oh, Jesus.
From writer to writer. So I know it's wholly unique to every particular person. Also, who's moving shit around in the background?
That's Pete chewing on my cases.
Oh, is that what that is?
Just gotta get it out of his mouth. Sorry.
Okay. Because it's coming through pretty clean.
Yeah,
I love you, Pete, but you're a puppy, and I know you don't understand these things. I know it bites everybody in different forms. For me, I refer to it colloquially as like this spark. Like if it's like 3 a.m. and I'm exhausted and I'm like, about to hit the sack and it hits me, like I have to forego all normal functions and get it out of my system. And unfortunately, I can't necessarily bring that up on command. I know for myself, a book that is presently shelved, I wrote the back quarter of the book, which was like 400 pages, in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And like before a spaghetti dinner. I remember that very vividly. I remember being like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then like, whoop. I was like, click, 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 click. I got to get it out. I got to get it out. It's got to get out of me. Like you're excising a demon or something. It's very strange and cathartic, but it's like, I don't know, endorphins or ecstasy or all of those things, like just that are just like all going on at once. That's what it is for me when it hits me. At any rate,
serotonin.
How is it? How is the bug for you? That's right.
For me, I'm going to say I've been working on like this initial idea. Basically, essentially started while I was about 16.
Okay.
And it's something that's like characters, situations, like dynamics, like
Yeah.
have always changed. Like nothing is actually similar except for the world itself. But basically, when I get hit, though, it's something I tend to mull over my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like taking a piece of coal and then just applying so much pressure, and it's like, okay, this seems like a cool idea.
Yeah.
And I get comfortable with the idea first, and then I start putting it basically to paper, quote unquote, here. And yeah, that's more my system. It's like I said, I'll mull it over, and then I'll get like a very rough written idea, which the way I write like things, I tend to either forget or like bypass, or afterthought is like, oh wait, this would be a good idea, like for change this little itty bitty bit here for like the greater good of the entire like integrity, essentially. But so things have basically sort of, not drastically, but have already changed in a few like character like archetypes and such that I'm thinking about and like mulling over. But yeah, that idea is going places. It's it because like I said, the initial rough draft prologue that I wrote was actually very rough, because it was in that stage of I had just like mulled over the idea, I had written out a few things, and then it's like before shaping what was really left, it's like, let's see what people think about this, which is something I like never do.
Yeah.
But I decided, it's like, oh hey, here's this thing. What do y'all think?
Yeah, and I definitely gave you my thoughts.
Oh yeah, for sure, and it definitely helped a lot, and like it was for thinking about things and such, and but yeah.
Now, guys, I don't know if you knew this, but secret time. I write every day.
What?
That's exactly what I thought you would do.
Yeah.
I write every day.
What?
It came up an idea, like, Jess, my girlfriend Jess, and I have been together for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, Christmas comes, and Christmas is a big deal for her. And I realize it's March. I know what you're thinking. Hey, it's March.
No,
but
I understand. Remember our talk about how freaking similar our Jessicas are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now this was
We're like,
an
it's
idea
Christmas.
I had. Yeah, pretty much. It's after Halloween. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
But I went out and I went to a stationery store, and I bought a really nice journal.
Okay.
And the idea came to me, just, I don't know what happened. I thought it would just be really sweet. Every day I write my Jessica a love letter.
Wow.
In the book.
Okay.
So when I give it to her, it'll be basically a year of my love.
Oh,
Nice.
That's pretty dope. I will have to steal that in 3 years' time.
And then, it just came to me, and I write a lot of stuff down. I write, what I plan to do for the day. When I go to the gym, I write down stuff. It just helps me focus.
Sure.
Basically.
Yeah. And
it's kind of crazy, because I'll grab the journal in the morning after I take Pete for our walk or a run, or when I get back from the gym, and I'll take the journal, and I'll, go into the office where I'm at now, and I'll write. And she's always like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm writing in my journal." And she's like, "Why the fuck do you have a journal?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It just helps me, it just helps me alleviate stress." Totally lying. Totally lying.
But
hey,
for her, she'd believe that. Yeah.
It's not, "Hey, by the way, I'm writing you 365 love letters. You're welcome." And some of them are like a paragraph, or some of them are 3 pages. It just depends on, what catches me, what happens during the day.
Yeah.
However it works. And I'm trying to do it daily. But it's really hard to write a love letter daily when, hey, we woke up, But it's something, it's a literal labor of love.
Yeah.
But,
Wow. Well, that's pretty good.
That's nice.
So,
but yeah. But yeah, essentially, also hilariously, like I said, a lot of this world building and such, because Buster mentioned earlier, I am on the path of DMing a campaign, and I had recently figured, because I was trying to do being an old D&D fan, I was absolutely in love with the Planescape setting. But
Okay.
I actually ended up deciding, because like I said, I have a bunch of this world of my making in my head. And I came to the decision, it's like, why not throw that into a campaign? So yeah, so a lot of this world building and such will at least be put to use. It's like if I abandon the writing again, which may or may not happen, it will at least be put to use there.
Okay. Sweet. Well, that's awesome. It was wonderfully more in-depth than I imagined we would get into. That's pretty great. Hot take thrown over to Cast of the RNG. Since we're running 2 hours, 20 minutes long, I think since the last topic is video games, just by luck of the actual RNG,
Praise RNG.
I think we'll keep rolling, but we'll let the Fork folks know that, they get the first sampling of the RNG since the next topic is video games. And so might as well just shove that into RNG, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, fantastic. That's what's happening, folks. Because Tim don't cut like that. Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival by author Tim K.A. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
It's totally understandable. I'm not really mad at you. Fuck, I'm gonna get a Shamrock Shake. I will get one. I will get a fucking Shamrock Shake if it kills me. I can go to Wawa and get one, but it's not the same. A peppermint milkshake is not the green mint mocha, whatever they want to call it. It's not the same. It's not the same. I gotta break out my straw, the straw that I got. I gotta use that to enjoy the most beautiful mint milkshake imaginable. So I'm gonna get one. Oh, if I have to go 2x myself on the freeway, I'm gonna get a goddamn Shamrock Shake soon. You could have kept the recording, but yeah, I mean, just put that on next for the next time we do an episode of Fork, because I can vent. Because yeah, you probably should have told me that Jeff got a goddamn Shamrock Shake, Tim, because guess what I wanted? A Shamrock Shake. Guess what else I wanted? Goddamn Szechuan sauce. You know what the worst part about it is? The big ass sign on the motherfucking window that says, "We have Szechuan sauce." No, you don't. You fucking liars. Don't lie to me. You can lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. I fucking lost my mind. I'm losing my mind right now. This is some bullshit. I had to go all the way to fucking Burger King just to calm my nerves. Because they have cookies and cream shakes, and that's like the second best shake you can get, really. Let's just be honest.
Hello?
Hello?
It sounds like a Des.
Indeed.
Where's Mike? I see his bubble.
I know, right?
Huh. That's weird. That's weird indeed. I'll text him.
Buster.
Man, he's not having a good morning. Sorry, you guys. This record sucked, man. He's texting me about it. I was on my run, and I was like, "Oh, dude, do we need to do a double? Because I got you."
Incredibly ironically, we were just talking about on cast how we could not, or on the failed cast, how we have never. It's like we could never get over tech difficulties.
Yeah.
And we had to start and stop, and I had backup audio, but then it didn't start my other backup audio.
Yeah.
Son of a... And then, yeah.
He joined.
Yeah, quite.
Do we got you, Mike?
Can you hear me?
You're hella quiet.
I don't know how the fuck I'm quiet. I'm sitting in the same spot I always sit.
You're quiet, and there's a weird, like, plop, 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 plop noise,
too. It was
too.
like a muffle.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's all I need.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm real, man. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just one of them days.
Yeah.
I could recall and see if that would help. Do yourself a favor, since you have a blue microphone, buddy. I would. Now there's a really weird sound. Or is that you, Des?
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was me.
Oh, okay.
Apologies. That was my vape.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Wow, that came through real strong.
Yeah, that it makes a lot more noise than my old setup.
Pro tip, Mike. Every once in a while, sometimes Skype hates blue mics for some reason. Just unplug it and replug it while it's live.
Yeah, try that then.
Give it a go.
What doesn't Skype hate though?
Better? I mean, it's a Microsoft product.
Exactly.
Can you?
God, and I went off on a tangent on freaking Microsoft.
Is that better?
No. It's still super quiet. Check your settings on Skype. When you replugged it, it might have defaulted back to whatever your default settings.
Audio setting.
Because we can hear you. It's just super quiet. Like Des said, hella muffled.
Is that better?
Yes.
There you are.
Yes.
Fuck, man.
Was it the settings?
I don't know what it was. It said microphone USB 7. I'm like, nope, that's not even a number.
Oh,
that's not even right. I was like, I have one. Thanks. I have a blue mic plugged in, you son of a bitch.
So it defaulted to like the laptop microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Classic Skype.
I know, right? Oh, Jesus.
Skype, you had one job. One job, Skype. And you failed.
Yeah, it was just
Good save,
like,
sir.
we went on this huge rant about our issues with tech difficulties. My rant on Microsoft for going through an entire account recovery process because I forgot my password.
Yeah.
Oh, which they denied, by the way, because I apparently didn't have enough right answers for their automated system. Screw you, Skype.
Like, oh, cool. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to fuck around. And who have you talked to in the last 6 years? Everyone? 7. 7 is the correct answer.
It's like, what?
Exactly.
Fuck me, man.
What was your third cousin's second dog? What?
Yeah.
You need this game. Makes me feel like I'm getting a fucking new sleeve or something.
Well, you're no envoy, so.
Yeah, it's true.
I know you want to be.
I mean, you have combat training, so
yeah,
I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
Living
and you've got Tales from the Wrestling Class, so there you go.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So we're doing back to back, or are we doing combo?
What do you think, Des?
Because of back
to back would probably be easier, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if it was later in the month, I'd say a combo would be cool. But I mean, then again, it's like I told Buster, it's like, I mean, you're going to be dropping links. So, I mean, it's not like people that don't or aren't like in the aware won't be capable of listening easily.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You do have,
that's my logic anyway.
You do have the RNG cast in this episode. So technically, I guess it's a guest.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, for everybody's conservative time, combo may be better, but if you want to do back to back, we can do that as well.
I mean, not an easy choice.
Because do you have a time constraint, Des or Mike?
Negative.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then let's
Damn's here.
Let's do it then. So we're for sure doing back to back then, Mike.
Yeah, I'm fine either way. I'm a Commodore. I'm easy like Sunday morning, guys. You know that.
I don't know why that tickles me, but it does.
I know, right?
Also, I have a sleeping puppy, so thank you, God.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, all the gods, because he was a fucking rampager today.
That little rascal.
Oh my God. Yeah. All of a sudden, he hears like, oh yeah, he's not on a pork bone. He's fine. Oh, that's my leg. It's like, oh Christ.
He's like, oh well, I mean, one bone's as good as another, and now he's just lying gingerly next to me, just asleep on the power cord. I guess is comfortable. Cool, bud.
Fair enough. So I mean, we do need to decide: are we doing back to back, or are we doing combo? Because it seems like we could go either way based on what people are saying.
I'll say back to back. Final answer.
Yeah, okay. That's fine with me.
Let's do it. Alrighty. Let's do this. Okay. Cut in.